Morning world, and welcome to an absolutely glorious Wednesday, 3rd of January. As you may have gathered, we've had a bit more rain last night. Just a bit. Anyway, you join us on this wonderful morning on a trip over to my brother's place, actually. I'm going to go over to see Michael, and we're also meeting Mark, the nice man from FWAG, Farming Wildlife Advisory Group. And we've invited him, or Michael's invited him, to talk about hedges and ditches and fencing, and is there any grant aid available to help us do some. So that's where I'm going. So it looks like Mr. Cornock's farm, not all of it, but a bit of Mr. Cornock's farm and quite a lot of Reg's farm is also underwater. You could have a lot of fun out there with a jet ski, as long as you know where the fences are. That would probably be a good idea, but yeah, so much rain again. I mean, what a start to 2024, basically starting where 2023 left off with rain. And there's nothing we can do about it apart from complain. We can't complain about it, and that's the only thing we can do about it. That's kind of what we've done most of, is complain about it. So yeah, so the guys, I sent the guys off to a job this morning. They came back within 10 minutes because the job site was flooded. It's next to a fairly fast flowing river. River's burst its banks, wasn't safe, so they can't do the job they're booked in to do. I've hopefully got another job for them to go on to, but the customer for that site, when I tried to ring in this morning, was actually on a plane. He doesn't land for another half an hour. I sent him a message. Hopefully he'll call me when he lands and say yes or no, we can go and do that, so at least I can keep the guys busy. In the meantime, they're logging, because that's all we can do. To be honest, nobody in their right mind really wants a bunch of blokes traipsing around in their garden, trimming trees and hedges and stuff like that in this weather. And if the customer today says, I'd rather you didn't, I wouldn't blame him, because, I mean, part of his lawn, we can avoid that bit. Part of his lawn was only laid to new turf, well, mid last year. So the grain's still soft there. I mean, the guys, if they walked over that too much, I mean, it's a 2.5 day job. It's not like an hour in and out. It's a 2.5 day job. I don't want to chew his garden up. He doesn't want us to chew his garden up. We can do it without chewing his garden up, but it does make the job a bit harder for the guys, because it means they have to drag everything out, not by the most direct route. They have to avoid the reseeded bit. So, and when you're wet and you're cold and you're miserable and you just want to get the job done, you see where this is going? Yeah, I mean, they will avoid the grass because they have to, but it just won't make them very happy. So no one's happy in this weather. It's just misery guts weather. So here we go again. Rather a lot of brown water there. So in some ways, with all this weather, I'm relieved that we haven't put our wheat in. We've done very little in the way of cultivation. So as far as runoff is concerned off of our ground, it's probably minimal. If anything, the ground's been packed hard. With the rain, it's actually got a cap on it. But there are places where it's come down that hard, it's created little rivers, and you can see where they have actually eroded some of the soil. So yeah, I'm sure there's thousands of tons of topsoil washed out into the ocean in the last 6 months. I mean, look at it running across the road. You're not going to get any field work done in this. No chance. Be interesting to see if the roads flood outside the old farm. This is a normal place to find abandoned cars where they've tried to get through thinking it's not as deep. That's actually not too bad. I've seen it a lot worse than this. A lot worse than this. But yeah, that's just a puddle compared to what we get sometimes. Okay, right, well, you've seen a bit of my trip over. I've introduced you into what the weather's like, so you already know that this is probably going to be a video full of me whinging about it. Yeah, we'll do this. I've got to look at 2 tree jobs this afternoon, quite big ones, and I've also got to get all my sheds mucked out again because the rain driving last night has made the beds mucky overnight. But I haven't had time to do it this morning, so that's going to be a job for me when I get back from this. Right, well that was well worth the time. So quite a long meeting. What's the time now? It's 10 to 12. So basically we just walked around my brother's farm, looking at ditches and hedges and sites where they could put little ponds for newts and stuff like that. So it looks like they could do quite a bit to help my brother out with his place. And I mentioned that there was a piece of land that I wanted to fence that was alongside a very quite an important local water source, and it looks like I can get a grant to do that, which would probably be what they said. It's about £14 a minute to put up stock fencing. And I'm looking at probably 350 metres, 400 metres. So it's not a massive long stretch, but at that money, it's, you know, if I can get some help with it, then why not? So at the end of the day, the basic payment scheme is coming to an end. All the grant aids are for the farms are changing. So there is money available for farmers and for farmland. But oh, Dad's out there. What is Dad doing out there? Hang on a minute. Why is he there? Is he stuck? No. Alright, hang on. Hang on, hold that thought. Right. He was out just checking his farm, which is fine. He's entitled to do that. We're going to go back to his place for a cup of tea. I know, the water level's come up in it since I come down earlier. Right, quick cup of coffee with my dad just to discuss what the man from FWAG was telling me, so he's up to speed. Dad's hearing isn't so good nowadays, so just went through it again on what's available and, you know, whether we should go with a herbal lay idea or not, and we might do part and part. So, but on our way back, I wonder what the flooding's like. Ah, well, yeah, there is still some, but it isn't that bad. Even the road louse made it through, so not that bad. It looks like the hounds are out and about somewhere. Can't see them, but they're about somewhere.